You're listening to Polymatic.media, episode 44 for July 29th, 2018. Welcome to the Polymaticast. Our topic this week, it's hot. It's lit. What was it? Hashtag lit, John? Is that what it was?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And also, this is the Deja Vu edition.
Yes, the Deja Vu edition. So it's really hot there. I guess it's technically really hot here too, except that the HVAC system in the house was finally replaced. So I'm in better control of my environment like I hadn't been for the last 7 years. So
how nice would that be? Having an air conditioning unit.
Yeah.
But then again, you're warming up the rest of the planet, so, you know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But so is very heavily populated, dense areas and cities on your side of the planet, too.
Yeah, but I think that
US?
it's really unnatural the way it is right now.
Yeah.
Over here. It's not
Sure.
the Dutch weather.
It's
insane.
It's worldwide unnatural. Yeah. I don't think you and I are going to have an argument about how there is no the world weather is not changing. There's no denial on this end. We recognize the scientific nature of that things are changing in very odd ways that humanity has rarely ever seen. So, or at least seen and recorded and survived. Let me say that.
So yeah, that's fun. It's very fun. I've hacked together and what I've been calling the hobo AC, where I put a bucket full of cooling blocks and a fan on it.
Yeah,
for a bit.
ice packs, basically.
Ice packs, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, ice packs are more like something you put on your knee or something. That's more what I think about when I hear the word ice pack.
Right, but I would say maybe in the U.S., if you buy one of those ice packs that are a plastic thing that have stuff in them that you're not supposed to open up anyways, and that are like shaped for putting in a cooler and putting your cans through it so that it wedges in the cracks between your cans, keeps them cool, they still call those ice packs. Okay. Maybe they call them soda coolers or something like that. But
well, they've been working fine as a ad hoc AC unit.
Makeshift AC unit with a fan.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to replace those in about an hour or something.
Yeah,
turn the fan back on.
I'm waiting for Amazon to enable basically the purchase they made with Whole Foods and set up their Amazon Fresh again or whatever it is through Whole Foods as their distribution, shipment centers, right, for deliveries and whatever. And so that hasn't happened out here yet. And they haven't announced it really to the world as far as I'm aware, but that's my expectation. So I can't do Amazon Fresh anymore. But one of the things I would do is every once in a while when I did that, I would get cold things, let's say ice cream or frozen, fruits or whatever it is. And they had given me these recyclable, disposable ice packs. And so what
were they made of?
I don't know. It's like a gel or whatever it is, and it freezes and it retains really well. And that's the kind of thing they put in the foil containers when they ship it to you. Where they ship it, they drop it off and you're not home if you set up that kind of delivery type. And so I just would put them in the side door in my freezer. And I never tossed them out. And eventually I filled up that side door, both levels of it, in the freezer. So I have so many of these things. And maybe the last, iterations of when they say we're not going to do this anymore, end of month, I basically put them outside to let them fall, and then I tossed them out, let them recycle. So I have so many of those things, and right now you could use all of them. I have no way of getting them to
work. We need a teleport though, so we're gonna have to invent those.
Well,
first.
Then you could have just come to America, bought an AC unit, or borrowed mine, and then teleport home.
Or just go to the South Pole.
Yeah, or go to the South Pole for 5 minutes and then come home and you're like, I'm good.
I'm good. Cool down. It was. I went to see the blood moon last night.
Yeah.
And the lunar eclipse. So we'll talk a little bit about lunar eclipse in a minute. But the inside the city, and in the Netherlands, a city is not that big. Doesn't matter. You got city rights at some point, then you're called a city. But in the city, it's really hot, warm, and outside of the city, just outside of it, there's like pastures for cows and sheep and plants and veggies and stuff. And those over there, it's a lot cooler. But there was still like this warm breeze that would come on every once in a while. Like in the middle of the night, it was like midnight was still very, very warm. It's very hot out there. But to last night, I went out and took some photos. Bought a lens for it. It's not really expensive lens, but it was an expensive, not expensive, but still, an expense. So I took some photos of the blood moon. That didn't go so well because there was lots of cloud cover in front of it, so that was kind of annoying. I did get some shots, but they're not great. They're on my Instagram. It's also WebDevy, in case you're wondering. I might put some in the show picture. But yeah.
And bugs too.
Oh yeah, I got harassed by lots of flies and things, and there were danger noodles, and there were frogs, and lots of mosquitoes.
Oh, for those who don't understand what a danger noodle is, I finally had this conversation with John. He means snake.
It's a danger noodle. The best thing ever. I think there's also angry log. That's for crocodile.
Okay. I haven't heard that one.
And there's super hairy nope, which is a spider. Like one of those big spiders.
Haven't heard that one. Is this just not a US thing?
I think it's an internet thing, Alan. It's an internet thing. You need to become more lit. What is the hashtag? Whatever. That's bullshit, man.
I really don't.
I'm just messing with you.
Yeah.
So but it was okay to see it. The moon didn't really come up from behind the clouds until the eclipse was already passed. Now, people in Belgium were really bummed because they couldn't see anything because they were just covered in thunderstorms. But in the Netherlands, it was somewhat visible. There were plenty of people that drove by us and then stopped, drove back. It's like one car wide little path in between the fields. Like people drove by like, oh, are you looking for the moon? Have you seen it? Have you seen it yet? Have you seen it? Yeah, it's over there. And they were like, I can't see it. And you turn off your freaking lights. Yeah. There were people like with their high beams on, driving that other thing. Oh, have you seen it yet? I'm like, you turn the freaking lights off. You can actually see it, man. Go on.
Yeah. Well, these are the things like, is it worth going to the game or just watching it on TV? And sometimes it's just worth watching it on TV. Let someone else do the difficulty of taking the picture. And then you can look on the internet and see it.
Well, my brother was really nagging about things, about the mosquitoes, which I can agree, they were kind of annoying. Yeah. But he was kind of the target, I think, because I ate a very garlicky pizza the day before.
A body fragrance.
the few hours before. Yeah. They didn't like me, so well, he got stung a lot.
Yeah.
And he was afraid of all the noises the frogs and rats and other things in the water made.
Look, like, you guys are suspect to getting bitten or something because you are in their territory. You know what I mean? You're in their backyard or front yard or the whole yard.
As long as they don't harass me, I don't harass them, right?
Yeah, I got you.
But I didn't get stung. I didn't develop anything. And I'm usually, when I get stung, it's like bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'm not a fan of mosquitoes, but apparently the garlic worked.
So now you know next time you try to attempt to take a picture and stand in a bog to get the shot.
But it's not a bog. It's like there's like fields, just big fields. Mm-hmm. And the problem for me was mostly because there were some clouds on the horizon, so I couldn't see anything. If it would have gone further north, I would have seen a lot more. But you've seen the photos, right?
Yeah, I saw the photos on your Instagram, yeah.
Yeah, so they were okay. They were not great,
Right.
mainly because it was just too cloudy on the horizon. I'm really bummed that up because I bought the camera and I bought the
Well, you didn't buy a brand new camera, but you bought a new lens, right?
I bought the new lens. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
So yeah.
you spent some money on the lens, and your first attempt at using it to satisfy your rationalization to buy the new lens didn't happen.
I didn't
But
spend that much on it. It was like $150.
oh, okay. So you bought like a Tamron or something like that.
It was exactly that brand.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, Tamrons aren't bad, but they're like Sigma. Like I bought a Sigma, and so my camera body's really old. And obviously, like 8 years ago, it wasn't old, but it is now. And the camera's body control through the electronics with the Sigma lens is not as fast as it would be with a Canon lens. So I spent like $600 on a camera lens from Sigma. And you go, well, hold on, but that's a lot of money. But in camera lenses, that's really not. That's like middle of the line. And so I had some doubts whether the Sigma as a brand was a great lens or not. It turns out they are a great lens maker. But it just turns out its compatibility isn't significantly amazing with my camera body. And it could be that it's trying to make the camera do stuff that the camera isn't capable of. It is an older camera body, and it wasn't even a high-end one at the time. So, with that said, I can get good pictures out of it, but the likelihood is if I let it sit in auto and I don't sit there and precisely, narrow it in, I can't count on it to take good, fast pictures, right? And so I have used, my roommate bought the next model up because it was on sale. It was like discounted, cheap camera body, and he bought a Tamron zoom lens or whatever it is. It goes like 100 over 100 millimeter or something like that, and it's cheap. It's plastic. It takes a reasonably good picture, but it's like the FL on it, the f-stop on it's pretty bad. And it's not like super bad, like it's a 6 or 7, or like I don't even know if they make that. It's like at best like 4 to 4.5 or to like 5.6 or something. Like it's
so the one I bought is a 70 to 300. And it has an f-stop of 4 and I think 4 to 5.6. So
in that case, it's not going to, the f-stop is going to be too dark. That is going to be a better lens if you're trying to take a shot on a nice sunny day.
Yeah, but getting a zoom lens with like a low f-stop is
very expensive. Yeah, it's not $100. No doubt. And there are other.
But even the Canons have the same ranges. Even Canon lenses have the same ranges.
Yeah, but they also do have.
The one I linked you earlier. Yeah,
that telephoto zooms with low f-stops.
Yeah,
but those things are thousands of dollars.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I think my next stop for my camera stuff is going to be a new body.
Yeah.
And then sell my old body because, and I don't mean human body because
no camera body.
Camera body.
Yeah.
I just had a very weird picture in my brain, like the what was it, carbon something or other.
Altered carbon.
Altered carbon. Yeah. I need a new sleeve.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know. I'm actually, we were talking about camera stuff. I'm in the same kind of mindset. Like I like the idea of something that can handle low ISO, well from the sensor level. Now, with that said, that does not excuse the quality of your lenses, right? You can't do a f-stop of 5.6 on something on a dark night and expect a camera body that has a better sensor or a bigger sensor that can handle the ISO noise levels better, right? It's an improvement, but the two things work together. It's not one versus the other. So, Sony's got that going for it, but its color picture science is good. It's not fantastic, but Canon has this nice color science look that I really like, and I don't like Nikon's. And So, Canon, unless you go to their like multi, like 5-digit, price range camera bodies, you aren't going to get sort of the sensor density and ISO sensitivity, quality, and all that combined, and also throw in 4K, high quality, high speed 4K on top of that. They just
Yeah.
don't. They don't really have that, and everyone's wondering what's going on. Why haven't they done it yet? And I don't know. I think there's probably some good reasons, but they haven't done it yet. And Sony and everybody else is like, oh, about that 4K. I get it. I understand it, but and the quality of the devices are still high priced, and you still could spend near $2,000 to get one of those camera bodies, to get close to that, and even then, that it still doesn't excuse whatever lenses you attach to it, right? And then you got to spend thousands more.
I already have a couple of lenses. I'm not
Right.
going to buy a Sony or something.
Right.
The thing is that I think the Canon even started lowering their product numbers again. Like there's like a Canon 200D.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what? Did they go back? I thought that
Yeah,
higher was better.
I don't know what they're doing. I mean, if I was to look at it today in terms of just pricing, if price was not a cost, then I would buy like a 7D, or I would buy or whatever the more recent one. I think it might be I think it's 70. I don't think it's 60. But I would buy a 5D Mark,
No,
whatever the latest.
There's an 80D.
Well, there's 80D, yeah, the 80D. And so I've looked at that but then I also think about my camera usage. And most of my usage is taking pictures of people or each other when we are recording the show. And while I want to lug around the thing at Otakon, I can't be the camera person and an attendee and a staffer all at the same time. It's just sort of, I can't do all the things. So, and that $1,800 for the body, I could spend that on a brand new mixer board, or a stack of new compressors, or buy just about all 5 new mics that I want to buy. Or $1,800 is a pretty good, more than halfway there to a deposit to a Tesla. Like I can do more with that $1,800 if it's available to spend on other things that are going to bring more value to me than the want and general convenience of having that option somewhere in my future. It doesn't mean I'm not going to buy a new camera body. It just means it's not the highest of the priorities to do it right now. And they are still very expensive. You want to get one that has reasonably good life in it. And
Yeah,
the EDD would be that decision financially if I was making it. And if money was not the option, then it would be, like a 5D Mark, or, whatever, what's his name? Peter, I can't think of his last name. McKinley? Like carrying around one of those huge, heavy, DX models, right? If that was photography, was your profession and your thing,
I've been looking at the 80D. So for just the body, because I already have lenses. I don't need like new lenses.
Yeah.
Mainly because the sensor on my my 600D, it's kind of, I don't know. I don't think there's like dust on it or something. There's like I think it's wearing, the pixels are wearing out, so I'm getting like little colored grains on it. So that's kind of annoying. So I think I need to switch it out. But it's only in very low light conditions. It's like in normal photos you don't see it.
Right.
Right. It's only when it's like it's trying to get all the light it can get.
Mm-hmm.
Then I run into this issue.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's also because of the lens, because the lens is too dark.
That is going to do it too. If you can get yourself to like a 2.8, it's going to be more bokeh, right? But that is a better scenario to get like a telephoto that does that, like in a 2.8. Your pictures would have been a little bit, even though there's probably not much to work with, probably would have been a bit more vibrant,
Yeah.
bright. the exposure would have been good. You wouldn't have to overcompensate that, and you would have less noise. Even though the 600D, whatever it is, I mean, mine is, I think the equivalent was mine was 550D. The European model was basically the same thing. So, I mean, that's basically, the 80D has a better sensor on it, and there's a huge gap of time, more than 5 years, right? So if you swap out that body, everything's going to be a better experience for you.
Yeah, but do you want to spend the money on that?
Yeah, and then to me, when I
It's
looked at it...
It only happens,
Yeah.
once in a while. And I think maybe even a better lens would have, made it a lot better. It's just...
Sure.
This was the one I bought on a... I wanted to.
You're right.
I'm going to buy a lens to get
to satisfy the situation.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so...
That didn't work.
Try to reduce our tangents.
Yeah, well, it's never going to happen anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, we got to try. But yeah, no, I mean, I think this could be its own topic. Look, likelihood, one of us, if not both of us, are probably going to buy new camera bodies. And
Camera Quest 2018 and 19.
Yeah, and so the Sigma lens that I have here with an 80D, I know it would do a lot more than it does with my current camera body. Even though it's an older lens by comparison to the 80D in terms of technology state. So, yeah. I don't know, where were we? What do we need to do?
So the one thing that we had planned, at least the message, the thing we discussed before we started the first time we recorded.
Yeah.
The first recording didn't go so well because technology.
Technology doesn't like the heat.
I don't think it was heat related.
No, it was something on my end. Something was bleeding in my channel, so you couldn't separate me and your feed together. So it doesn't seem to be present.
You guys would have had to listen to Skype Alan, which would have been very bad.
Yeah.
At
Skype
least
Alan.
nobody would have noticed. But
no one would have noticed. Nope.
Anyway, so last time we were talking about the heat. And that it's the
fires
Netherlands
are happening
here
on
right
your
now.
end.
It's like Sweden is on fire.
Yeah.
And this is not normal for Europe, right? Normally Europe is in the Netherlands. Summers are very wet. There's lots of rain, lots of green. And sometimes it gets hot for like a week, but it's been hot for weeks. It's so bad that the grass outside my apartment building, which usually is green throughout the summer, is like brown, yellowish.
John,
There's like patches of green in there. And I understand that in the US it's a lot worse. It gets worse.
Mm-hmm.
But this is not our normal climate. Normally it's more like a... it's definitely an ocean, like a coastal climate here, normally. Warmish in the winters and cooler in the summers.
We talked about before. Yeah, I live in one of the states in the U.S. that it gets basically all the four seasons and the shifting of what those seasons are supposed to represent in terms of weather, and the mild versions and the somewhat extreme. I live in a place where I'm not living at the northern part of the country, so I don't get these super extreme 8-foot tall snowfalls, right? I don't get that extreme, but best we might get 4 feet at times. So I experience all these things, and our area knows how to deal with all these weather scenarios. Even though if it seems neurotic, like today it's 80 something out in Fahrenheit. Okay, so my phone says 75 in Fahrenheit, whatever that translates into, 22, 24 or something probably, maybe 23 in Celsius. So regardless of that, it's not great out, but our area knows how to handle it. And if you live in an environment,
it's probably a dry heat, right?
I'd have to look more precisely in one of these apps that tells me about the pressure and the humidity. And I can certainly do that while you're talking, but yeah, I don't know what it feels like. I haven't gone outside today. I just haven't had a need to because I'm in a house where the AC is properly working for me finally.
So in the last few days, it's been like 37, 37 and a half outside, right? So that's like 100 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, that's bad.
It's bad. It's just not good. And the houses have been heating up, so everything inside is warm, and you can't get the heat out for some reason. And then it starts raining, mixed muggy and sweaty, and it gets really bad. And today it's been like 28 degrees inside the house, in like the coolest part of the house. And that's around 82 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay, yeah.
So that's the coolest part of the house. Right, and I don't have a temperature gauge here right now because it's been like 30, 32, 35 degrees Celsius. And that's like getting close to 100 Fahrenheit. Right.
When the AC was... So I had a problem since I've lived here that the AC, the HVAC, the heating, and the AC have really not been functioning. And this is going on like 7 years, and only in recently this month, maybe end of last month, and keep in mind, we're recording this still in the end of July. So, with that said, this is the first time like I've spent a month in this house where I could control the temperature and it was reasonable. So when they were looking at how broke and that they're ready to make the decision to replace the whole unit for the house in and out of it, it was 85 in the nicest part of the house. And it's been that way for like a week. 85 in Fahrenheit, right? So, close to your coldest spot. And so that, you can fan your way through it. You can put box fans all around you and move the air around. But at some point, it's not good. You can't sleep well with that. There's only so many cold showers you can take. There's only so many like public pools you can go swim in, and so many card rides you can take with your AC basically blasting in your face.
Okay, that reminds me of that story about the orange tree. So, I've been, because of the heat and because I don't have an AC in my house, which I'm gonna at some point
rectify.
Just buy. Yeah. I went to the office to save one of the trees. We have like a tree that we got from like a supplier. Mm-hmm. One of our suppliers, they gifted a tree, which I proceeded to murder because I forgot to give water and put it in the windowsill, which was burning with lots of heat. Didn't realize, and then it was dead. I thought. And then I tried to save it, and everybody said, like, no, don't save it. But the tree was infested with wool louse, so I went to get some stuff to kill those. And that wasn't a good excuse to get to the office, which has AC, in my car, which has AC, which is great, which I'm probably going to abuse later today, again, to just drive around for a bit and enjoy the AC. Yeah. So I've been to the office twice today. First one was for the tree. Second one was for the hobo air conditioning unit that I'm building.
Yeah.
To get the ice blocks from the cooler I have, but I forgot at the office. That's been there for weeks. Yeah. But it was a good excuse. I love it. I have AC in my car. Great. Cooling down a little bit. It's just not great. And I hope that at some point this coming week it's going to be less, but from what I've seen is that it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, and sleeping through that is not, it's not fun.
Yep.
Not fun. And
when old guys complaining about the heat.
At the worst of when we were having like just not great, AC was not working whatsoever. It was like 90 degrees Fahrenheit, like 94, 93 average outside. My roommate, who had been sort of not very motivated to go to his gym and work out, was like going to the gym and working out. I go, what got you to do that? He goes, well, if I have to work my butt off, at least while I'm working my butt off at the gym, it's air conditioned. So while it was not a positive thing in the house, it was certainly a positive response that motivated him to go to his gym, because at the very least it was cold there in contrast. So yeah, so I don't know. It's the funny things we do to get some comfort, when it comes to temperature.
And in a couple of months, it's going to be so cold that we're going to be,
Not
trying
whining
to
about
find
that
something
at all.
warm. It's so cold. Why is everything frozen?
Except for, in those cases, though, managing it sort of economically is easier. Meaning that, like, I can wear my sweats and a hoodie, and I got plenty of blankets, and I kind of like the cold air helps me breathe, and that helps me in turn sleep better. So, that all is good. However, I don't live in a world or have an experience like Alaska temperatures, right? So, around here, it's gotten into, and I can recall within the last 5 years, it's gotten to in the 40s, in the 30s, like below freezing a lot during those times of the year. And I noticed that even when the heat is not working, which I suspect this time it will, a ceramic heater running in the room is way more effective than my previously with my heating mechanisms in the house. But the house can retain somewhere around 50 degrees Fahrenheit. But when it gets into the 20s, it can't deal. The insulation of the house does not work well with cold. It needs a counter agent mechanism, which is the HVAC system functioning. So it's interesting perspective to find out. I have friends that are lived in England, and they have told me, yeah, AC is not a common thing around here. We open windows.
It's going to be
fans. We don't do AC.
Waste even more energy and blast it all out into the sky.
And they don't afford that stuff. And when you live with that, maybe you live in LA in California, AC is like a constant, always on, and you expect that power bill to be a certain elevated amount as a result of it. So I don't know. It's not something I want to pay for if I don't have to, and if I can open a window and bugs don't come through the windows to come attack me or set up home, I'm good.
How's the wasp problem, Alan?
Gone.
Okay.
I think they couldn't take the heat anymore. That's a whole conversation piece. We don't need.
Let's not go into that one.
That's just a 20-minute Alan rants thing. I will say this: it was.
Have you seen Ant-Man and the Wasp yet?
Yeah. So that was it. So here's the thing: there was enough of a chronic problem, and you got to keep in mind, my father texts now, but he doesn't know how to express humor in text. And while it could piss me off, it didn't. And I got this text message from my father. And usually when I get a text message from my father, it's about something specific. And it was like his second time at attempt of humor. And he goes, so I hear the Ant-Man and the Wasp are in the theaters now. It sounds like a movie you'd like. And this was in the heart of my chronic wasp problem. So, yep. I've not seen the movie yet. I will eventually.
Okay.
Hopefully not with a hive of wasps.
Shall we move on to the trailers? That might be
good.
Might be good.
Yeah.
Okay, so first up, I have Warbringer's Jaina, which is from World of Warcraft. There's a new expansion coming out, and this is one of the main characters in the game. I don't know what she's doing, but she's like the daughter of some mythical person, and she plays a pretty big role in World of Warcraft. And then she's fixing for some payback, I think. So Polymatic.media/L3 for that, and it's pretty good.
Yeah, I watched it. I liked it. Obviously I don't know the larger context because I don't play WoW, but yeah, no, I mean I liked it well enough that I will tell you, I will recommend if you can put some nice headphones on and you have wherever the thing that you're playing it on, can deliver audio pretty well. Yeah, it's worthwhile because there's lots of really small sort of sound and surround and stuff, even with a 2-channel headphone. So I don't know, pretty neat. Definitely, I think worth watching. That was Polymatic.link/L3.
Yep.
So Orville TV show here in the U.S. Season 2 is coming. It's coming. It's gonna start the end of the year, somewhere around December. I enjoy Orville for what it uniquely is, despite what it uniquely is very much like in some other ways. And so I can't say I'm like super excited, but I'm happy, and I enjoyed the first season. Been partially rewatching or slowly getting through a second watching of the first season every once in a while, and I do enjoy it for what it uniquely is. Polymatic.link/KT. Season 2 is coming out. John, have you seen any of it whatsoever?
No, I have not.
I assume it'll show up on Netflix, and then you'll be able to see it that way. At least the first season, probably around the holidays when season 2 starts to come out.
I don't know.
And so the next one is San Diego Comic-Con happened. There's lots of trailers, previews, all kinds of things coming out, and this was no exception. Aquaman. I like the way they handled Aquaman in the Justice League movie, and I like the actor that they have doing this role.
That might be Stargate related.
Yeah, Stargate related, and he had limited roles, but he had really nothing that showed any kind of ranges him as an actor or his effectiveness in Game of Thrones. But he is Aquaman, and I liked how they handled this, and I have hopes that this trailer and this movie will be good, and that's Polymatic.link/KU. And then last of the trailers, because I had most of them, is something that's available only on Netflix when it comes out. And it's made by the same creator who created Futurama and The Simpsons. And it's called Disenchantment. And it's Polymatic.link/KV.
Okay.
You're excited to see this one, right?
Yeah, pretty good. It's gonna be.
Yeah, I like Futurama. I didn't like it initially when it came out, but over time I really got to love Futurama, and compared to The Simpsons, let's say, I really like Futurama over The Simpsons. Though Simpsons has its own special place, for me.
I don't like fantasy per se. I really hate fantasy. Like anything with magic or something like that. Nope.
But you're still excited for this?
Yeah, because it's subversive and funny.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so I can deal with that.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess we're moving on to fun stuff since I seem to have most of these links anyways.
Yeah, I've been overheated for a couple of days, so getting the links in was hard.
Okay, let's just, this is just interesting. I've not tried it. Let me say that I'm interested to try it. I would buy a pie. Ramen pizza.
Nope.
And this isn't just a pizza where they toss a bunch of ramen on it. Nope. They literally make the dough out of ramen. Ramen pizza, Polymatic.link/KW. Now, I said I would try it. John, I suspect you would not.
What is this unholy thing?
Right. This is not pizza. That is true. It's technically could be qualified as pizza. I think it would be uniquely interesting. But there's a small little private chain around here called Piece of Pizza, and peace is spelled like the peace sign, not like a piece of something. And they just take a pizza pie and then they just put all kinds of crap on it. They have lasagna pizza, pasta pizza, and then come up with all the other things that don't qualify being pizza at all. It's kind of like people who have grilled cheese restaurants, and they're putting steaks and they're putting ham things all over and pork chops on it, and I'm like, if it's beyond bread and cheese, it's not grilled cheese anymore. Oh, and it has to be grilled, can't be seared or baked.
Well, as soon as you start using the word technically when you're talking about food,
yeah,
I think you have a problem.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. So the qualification is maybe this technically is, maybe it technically is not. It's unique, and my taste buds and my stomach and my head and my eyes all say I totally would buy one of those, try it, and see if I really like it.
Okay. So that was Polymatic.link/KW for that.
Yes, indeed.
So I got a new PC case and a new power supply. We talked about that in the last attempt of recording this episode. We didn't talk about it this time, but I bought a new case and a power supply because I thought it would make it less noisy. So that didn't work out too good because it was too warm. So my fan still spin up like crazy, but hey, I tried.
Well, hopefully that'll change, and then it won't be a problem.
Yeah. So the new case I bought, you can find it at Polymatic.media/L6 as a review by somebody.
Cool. And you had some trouble putting stuff together in that case.
Yeah, let's not discuss that one. Don't put the hard drive LED negative lead into your reset switch. Yeah. Like one of the leads goes into the hard drive negative, and then one of the other one goes into the reset switch. One of them, it's bad.
Yeah,
PC doesn't boot.
Nope, it's bad. It could hurt things. Thankfully, it didn't hurt anything other than it's working now. But now it's too hot, and that will change though. Hopefully soon.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving along, Common AI OpenPilot, sort of an open source alternative or option, possibility maybe more legitimately in the near future. Polymatic.link/KX. I thought it was intriguing. I thought it was interesting. There's a device you can buy for certain compatible cars. And apparently it's easy. I don't know. I've not looked into it enough, but I thought at least sharing this highlight video was kind of worth sharing, I thought, about bringing autopilot into a more common vehicle that doesn't have a high price tag brand name attached to it. However, as I commented before, this won't stop me from wanting to buy a Tesla or getting a Tesla. But for those who want to try their hand at it, this is probably an option, maybe even better option later on in life. Polymatic.link/KX.
Okay, so the next one isn't that safe. Handmaid's Tale, if it was Scottish.
But it's funny.
Polymatic.link/L5. It's very funny.
It's very funny.
Entertaining.
Given that I live in the U.S. and that I am sort of harassed by whatever said company is trying to promote around here, at least in this country, Handmaid's Tale was a thing, I believe, on Netflix, if not one of the major networks. And it's at least, I believe, available on Netflix now. So I know more about the story than I probably want to without ever having watched the show. And this is just a Scottish retelling of it. And boy, is it funny. And I think it's really funny because of how blunt sort of the Scottish execution of this is. I think that's where the humor comes in. And it's just sort of goes by so fast, given, sort of the Scottish accent and sort of the deployment of this. So it's totally worth watching, I think. But it is totally not safe for work. Polymatic.link/L5. Moving along, Ethiopian Chapel in the Sky. This is a video from the Great Big Story. I recommended them as a channel in the past. And I don't even know what to call this. It's not really, it's like a rock face that is not like completely attached to a large, like it's not like a row home inside of a mountainside. It's just this rock cliff that kind of almost stands on its own, and someone very high up made a chapel, not the very top, but near the top, inside the rock face. And I don't know, I thought it was an interesting story about the subject of it. I'm sure that I would probably find myself walking up it, but I probably, my rational fears would kick in place trying to make my way down. That was Polymatic.link/KY. Certainly should watch it. It's not very long of a video. I thought it was interesting.
Okay, so next up is the video that gave me my hobo AC. Polymatic.link/L4. It's a DIY ice AC with a bucket and a fan and some ice.
Yeah. I mean, this guy literally went over to Home Depot and spent, well, I don't know, probably like $5. Put some ice in. Oh, okay. If you include the fan, okay. So maybe $15. And hey, look, if it works, it works, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's working for you a little bit
Oh, not right now.
because it's off. But in time, soon, John, soon. Okay, yeah, that was Polymatic.link/L4 if you feel like you need to build yourself a tiny little AC. Pretty easy, could be done cheaply. And that guy was also doing it on solar panels too.
Okay.
So I guess you could go camping with that idea, that solution.
I don't think that
Maybe?
will work.
Yeah, I don't know. So John and I are both developers, and we're both familiar with like a site called JS Fiddle. And the one thing that's neat about our web browsers is they're almost like a development environment on their own if you know how to utilize some of their development tool functionality already built into the browser. Like you go on a Chrome and you hit F12 and it will pop up a development tool thing, and you can actually kind of code inside the browser. But before all that stuff was really full functional capability, these kind of sites like JS Fiddle came along where you can create or build or code some JavaScript and test it out in a web browser and then sort of save and share that with other people. So you can go, hey, this is how you do this thing, and make snow falling in your web browser, on your website, like little, stupid things.
Blinking cursors.
But also cases like, here's how to use Angular, and you can use it as tutorial of and link to in your blog and show real code that they can play with and interact with live. So someone came up with a version of this that isn't based on JavaScript or CSS, but SQL. If you deal with servers, you deal with SQL databases a lot. There's lots of kinds of different SQL databases. They're not all relational, but there are some options here. And so this website allows you to go ahead and attach to a database, let's say Oracle or MySQL or Microsoft SQL or Postgres or several different versions without a server. Just go to the site, create a schema, go ahead and start experimenting, learn how to work with databases, and or if you got a migration in your future where you're moving from Microsoft SQL to MySQL or whatever to Oracle, or you want to play with Postgres for the first time ever, you can do it in a little safe, isolated environment, and that's SQL Fiddle. And that is polymatic.link/KZ. It's never a bad time to learn something about databases and see how they could be really an effective, powerful tool in your life. Or your coding, too, because that's real important. So, John was like, his earlier response was like, yeah, whatever. Because he'll never let go of MySQL. He doesn't work with any other database. But that's okay. Some people do.
You're trying to... No, that's not true, man. Come on. That is definitely not true.
You only work with MySQL?
No, I've worked with different types of databases.
Sure,
I've even worked with
but in your
MSSQL.
career, where you work today, right, it's really only one thing.
Not really. We have some PostgreSQL stuff, too.
Oh, we do? Okay, cool. Well, I mean, if you wanted to experiment on how it's done differently in a different database, you can. That's what the website's for.
But it's mostly because stuff we inherited from another company. But
yeah. Okay. So they chose to do it a certain way.
Yeah. Well, and I've worked with it in the past too. But it's like more what you get exposed to, and if this works for you and you don't have to pay for it extra,
right?
Why would you?
Right. Yeah, I can understand that mentality. Sometimes though that can bite you in the butt. Also, holding on to something that is costly can also bite you in the butt. And will often do that. So sometimes growing and shifting what you do inside your program or your application can be a healthy thing, even though you got to iron out some knots to get there.
Oracle.
Yeah, look, I didn't. Yep, I agree.
Let's not go there.
I'm not one of those people. I just happen to have to deal with it. So, with that, dealing with something different, maybe this is a way to solve one kind of problem, create another problem. I'm not really sure, but I thought it was interesting. It was more for John's eyes, but might be worth checking in on it later, see how it went. Polymatic.link/L0. This is something that Microsoft's going to try out. called Project Nantic. Or I said Nantic before, it's Natic. Where they're basically testing out the idea of putting sealed, waterproof server farms in, isolated, blocked off areas of a lake or water, and seeing if that could be a good, unique approach for cooling systems. I had another video which I didn't share here, but I found a really informative, but kind of was a really lame presented video of Google's sort of their server farm, one of their server farms, and how much infrastructure and investment they make in in that data center, that humongous building. Maybe next time I'll link that one up. I don't know. Thought it was interesting. I thought it was worth sharing. Okay, moving along, at least so we can be done with everything Alan is sharing. This is
you have too many links, man. You have just too many links.
This guy, someone I generally recommend his channel, and here's two of them. This guy's name is Alec with a C, Steel, and here's a video of him attempting to make a chef's knife. Polymatic.link/L1, and someone sent him a meteorite, and he tried to forge something or see if he could forge something with a meteorite, and that's Polymatic.link/L2. I find what he's doing very interesting, and maybe it's just sort of like a different maker perspective that I have no insight on, but now I have more insight on because I watched too many of his videos so far, and he's almost putting out one of these once a day, even if they're multi-part, and he's into Damascus steel, or making Damascus steel, which is interesting on its own. So that seems to be too much of a common theme in all his videos, but it is a motivator for him to make things with it. And so, so I don't know. I enjoy his channel, and I have a hard time not making myself go back beyond really in, a few months, because I think I would never stop watching his channel. The whole night could go disappear if I was doing that.
Well, I think we shared this guy before, but couldn't find the links. But I'll have a look.
Maybe you've seen him before.
Well, I think we shared him before. I think I linked one of his videos in one of the.
My connection to finding him was through another person. I watched his channel, and it's the Alex French guy who. I wouldn't say he's sort of like, he's a chef, plus he finds ways to hack, but step up his pasta machine, or make the making process faster, while still maintaining quality and all these kind of things. And so every once in a while, because of the size of his channel, he'll collab, and he did recently collab, or apparently collab back in May, on Alec Steele's channel, which I didn't see, but their video was released this month. And so they made a food hammer, basically.
Okay.
They called it a food hammer, but it's basically like a tenderizer hammer, right? Out of steel, no less. And so that's where the crossover was for me, and that's how I found about Alec Steele's channel. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Are you done?
I'm done.
No, are you done? Okay.
I
got two more things.
I don't know. I got more.
Okay. No, please, no. I got some music this week in the Discover Weekly on Spotify. I got one of these songs in there. I think it was We'll Execute before I forget. Millie is the name of the band. They're from Japan. So this showed up. I think it was pretty funny to me because it has some more programming, more developer type things in it.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what caught me, and then I went to their list of albums, and I listened to one of their albums, and I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. And they have like a very big range of different types of music. So this one thing has lots of in-jokes. The first one is Polymatic.link/KS, which is world.execute, and then within brackets me. And the other one is called Camellia, which is more of a European folk song type thing. I think it's about an assassin or something. Anyway, that's Polymatic.media/L7 for that. It's just really weird, strange music. Very big different range from different music styles, like from more electronic to more folksy. So go check that out. So I think that's it for today. Finally. Al, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter if you like. CHAESS. That is my last name. If you want to.
I'm just going to remove all the if you want to, if you like, if you care, and just put them like in like one episode, like at the end of one episode. All of them. So you can find me on Twitter at WebDevie, WEBDEVVIE. For feedback, you can reach us at podcast@Polymatic.media. The music is in this episode is by Say Uns, which you can find at Polymatic.media/EK. Alan's going to say uns in a bit. Our Twitter is The Polymatic, and our website is Polymatic.media. And I hope you tune in next time. No uns.
I'm trying not to. I'm trying not to laugh. You're going to hear me in the background laughing. Trying not to laugh.
Man. It's like
Oons. I love it, though. Wouldn't have it any other way.